All right, guys, we are back with our fourth segment of the evening. But before we get into our fourth segment, I'd like to remind you guys that if you have a question or if you have something that you would like me to read out loud live on air, use the link you see on the screen right here, gsmcpodcast.net, if you want me to read out that question or comment. And then with that being said, we're going to get right into our fourth segment here. The Rangers, 7-0 playoff start for them. This is the perfect playoff run so far, sweeping the Capitals, 3-0 up against the Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes match up the best for them. And for the New York Rangers, it is very, very impressive what they have been able to do. 7-0 start to the playoffs. This is the first time since 1994 for them where they did win the Stanley Cup that year. There's a lot of parallels to that team. That in 1994, you also had the New York Knicks making a playoff run. So you see those kind of parallels happen in Madison Square Garden. It's a fun place to be right now with the Knicks up 2-0 in their series. They might have lost to the Indiana Pacers tonight. I haven't been able to check that one out because, of course, I've been doing this show. So actually, when I get off this, it will be fun to see whether or not they go up 3-0 or it's a 2-1 series. But 7-0 start to the playoffs for the first time since 1994. In 1994, they lost Game 4 to Washington before taking the series in Game 5. That was the first game that they lost right after their 7-0 start. Will it be the same? Will the Carolina Hurricanes be able to take Game 4 at home? Who knows? This is the first team to start 7-0 in a playoffs since the 2008 Penguins. 08 Penguins lost to the Detroit Red Wings in the Stanley Cup final that year. Next year, they went on to win the Cup, though. Every single team that has started 7-0 or better in the playoffs, they have either won the Stanley Cup or made it to the Cup final. 08 Pens, they lost in the Cup final. 94 Rangers, they won the Cup. 89 Canadiens, they lost in the Cup final. 85 Oilers, they started 9-0. They went on to win the Cup. They lost 3 games that entire playoffs. That was only a 3 playoff series or three series in the playoffs. 76 Canadiens, they won the Cup. Only 1 loss all playoffs for them. 75 Flyers, they won the Cup. 69 Blues, they started 8-0. They lost in the Cup final. 68 Canadiens, they won the Cup. Only lost 1 game all playoffs. The 1960 Canadiens, 8-0, won the Stanley Cup. They went flawless. 52 Red Wings, 8-0, won the Stanley Cup flawlessly. It is a really good statistic to hear if you're a New York Rangers fan. 7-0 start or better, every single team has made it to the Stanley Cup Finals at least. A lot of teams before, a lot of people's times that are on the earth right now. But, 52 Red Wings, that's a long time ago. But there is a really good, that's a really good statistic for the New York Rangers. You're not expecting them to go flawless. I mean, to win 16 games straight would be up there for one of the longest runs in all of history, as the record stands at 17. I believe that is the Blue Jackets and the Penguins are tied for that record right now. But so far, every team that has won at least 7 games at the start of the playoffs has made the Stanley Cup final, with 7 of the 10 winning it. 16-3 is the best record anybody has ever had. That belongs to the 88 Oilers. That's a Gretzky team. Another Gretzky record. Who knew? That's the best 4 best of 7 series playoff record. 16-3. Of course, the Red Wings in 52, Canadiens in 60, both went flawless. Those are the 2 flawless Stanley Cups, but those were only 2 series for them, as that's the original 6 era. So when it's to this expansion era, when it's the 4 best of 7 series, it belongs to the Oilers in 88. They only played 19 games. There has been 3 teams that have played only 20, and I think that the Rangers might be able to join this mix. That is the 97 Red Wings, the 2012 Los Angeles Kings, and the 2022 Colorado Avalanche. Man, that run was legendary from the Colorado Avalanche. You look at some of these stats, and Cam McCarr was really good during that series. during that series, during that run. Nathan MacKinnon was really good during that run. And that was a very legendary run, tied for the second best record or second least amount of games needed to get to to get that Stanley Cup. So the Rangers really, their remaining road from here on out, you're looking at the Carolina Hurricanes. They have one more game to win in that series. Could they start 8-0 in this playoffs? That's really, that would be amazing for them. Then you have what's looking to be the Florida Panthers. We're going to talk a little bit about this game, 6-2 in the next segment. My next segment is previewing, but the podcast comes at a interesting time for me that now I get to be a little bit reactive to this series. So you'll probably play the Panthers, who just took a 2-1 series lead. I would say that is the best. That is the best team in the playoffs remaining for the Rangers. The Panthers took. The Panthers went all the way to the Stanley Cup final last year. So, I mean, it's impressive what the Panthers have been able to do recently. So, we'll see if the New York Rangers can continue this running run when they meet up against an amazing team. But I do think that this Carolina Hurricanes for the Rangers is a little bit of better matchup for them. Or the Rangers have a little bit harder time when you're playing the Carolina Hurricanes. So, I'm very impressed from what the New York Rangers have been able to do. I think they are the clear favorite to win the Stanley Cup. If they don't end up winning the Stanley Cup, I will be shocked. And if they don't end up winning the Stanley Cup, you can almost guarantee they'll at least end up in the Cup final, as has been for every single one of these teams before mentioned. Of course, when you start 7-0, it's a little bit of a skewed stat because when you start 7-0, you're guaranteed almost to get to that conference final, and then that's only one series to play to get to the Cup final. So, if you're maybe a sports bettor, maybe look to see New York Rangers to make the Cup or to win that third round playoff series. That might be a sharp bet for you. But the New York Rangers have a really great team. They have a really great road ahead of them. I think that they'll join that range of only 20 games needed to win the Cup if they were to win the Cup. And with that being said, we're going to take our last break of the night, and when I get back, we'll talk about tonight's matchups, give you my predictions, as I did write down my predictions before this, and one was very close to being correct.